If your baby is clearly exhausted but still fights every nap like it's their full-time job, you're not imagining it. This is one of those parenting moments where you're thinking, why are you resisting the one thing you desperately need? Hi, I'm Treasure, and I help tired, high-achieving parents get calm, realistic sleep that actually fits your baby and your real life. And if naps have turned into daily emotional combat, you're in the right place. Let's start with the most relieving truth. Nap refusal is usually not stubbornness, and it's not your baby trying to win. Most of the time, it's a wiring issue, not an attitude issue. Your baby's body is tired, but their nervous system is too revved up to power down smoothly. By the way, download my free guide, The Modern Parent Sleep Roadmap, the guide I wish I had, at 2 in the morning. The link is in the video description and on the screen. Now let's get into what's really driving this. Because once you know the patterns, you stop throwing random fixes at the wall. One common pattern is the overtired spiral. Your baby looks tired, acts tired, rubs eyes, gets clingy, and then suddenly becomes a tiny, frantic athlete the moment you try to put them down. That's not because they're faking tired. That's because overtiredness can flip the body into a fight mode where sleep feels hard, even when they need it badly. Another common pattern is undertiredness, which sounds weird when you're staring at a cranky baby. But if the timing is off, your baby can be exhausted overall and still not have enough sleep pressure built up in that exact moment to fall asleep quickly. That's why you can have a baby who seems tired all day, yet fights naps like it's a sport. The day is messy, the timing drifts, and now nothing lines up cleanly. There are a few common patterns that create this exact problem, and you only need to spot the one that matches your baby most. Sometimes the pattern is overstimulation. The day is loud, bright, busy, lots of movement, lots of interaction, and then nap time hits like a brick wall. Some babies can go from play to sleep like a phone that drops from 1% to charging in 10 seconds. Other babies need a slower runway, especially if they're more sensory sensitive. If your baby gets more wound up when you try to soothe them, or they fight harder when you add more bouncing, more talking, more tricks, that's a nervous system cue. They are saying, I need less input, not more input. Another pattern is accidental training, and I say that with zero shame. Your baby learns, I fall asleep while feeding, or I fall asleep while moving, and then when you try a different way, they protest because it feels unfamiliar. That does not mean you did anything wrong. It means your baby is consistent, and now we just make the path to sleep feel consistent in a new way. And one more pattern that sneaks up on professional parents is schedule whiplash. Daycare naps, car naps, stroller naps, weekend catch-up naps, and suddenly your baby's body has no idea what nap one is supposed to feel like anymore. Now let's talk about what helps, starting today. Not a perfect plan, not a whole internet protocol, just the fewest moves that create momentum. First, I want you to stop using the fight as the scoreboard. A nap can look failed and still be useful if we use it strategically to protect the rest of the day. If your baby refuses a nap, the biggest win is protecting the next sleep opportunity from turning into a total meltdown. Because nap refusal usually gets worse when the day drifts and bedtime turns into a disaster. So the goal is not make every nap perfect. The goal is stop the spiral. Let me show you the smallest changes that make the biggest difference. And yes, these are the same moves I use with exhausted working parents who cannot spend all day troubleshooting. Start by anchoring the morning. A consistent morning start time helps your baby's body know when sleep pressure should build again. Then protect the first nap of the day like it's your favorite meeting that cannot be rescheduled. For most babies, that first nap is the easiest one to stabilize, and once it stabilizes, the rest of the day gets less chaotic. If nap 1 is always a battle, it usually means the timing is off, not that your baby hates naps. So instead of pushing and pushing until they crash, try adjusting the runway so they are going into the crib calmer, not more desperate. That looks like a short wind down that is the same every time. Same order, same vibe, same sleepy cues, and honestly, it should feel a little boring. Dim the room, lower your voice, reduce play that gets them hyped, and do one simple cue that signals sleep is next. If your baby is sensory sensitive, keep the wind down even gentler and more predictable, because novelty can wake their brain up. Here's a move that saves a lot of nap refusal days. Use a rescue plan before the whole day collapses. If your baby skips a nap, don't wait forever hoping they magically push through. That usually backfires and creates the late day scream nap that steals bedtime. Instead, you can use a short, controlled nap opportunity later, even if it's not your dream nap. A car nap, a stroller nap, a carrier nap, a contact nap, whatever safely works in your life just to take the edge off and protect bedtime. That is not creating bad habits. That is making a smart, temporary choice to keep the day from turning into a sleep debt crisis. Now, I'm going to say something that might be the opposite of what you've been told. Earlier bedtime can be the nap refusal reset button. Parents often try to stretch the day because they are thinking, if my baby skips naps, they will sleep longer at night. And then bedtime becomes a full body protest with more night waking. If naps are a mess, bedtime often needs to move earlier, not later. Not forever, just long enough to stop stacking overtiredness on top of overtiredness. Okay, now I want to talk about the part nobody tells you until you're already spiraling. Nap refusal is often a sign that your baby needs a different kind of consistency, not more effort. If you feel like you're doing more and getting worse results, that is your sign to simplify. Less bouncing, less new tricks, less constant switching, more calm repetition. And if your baby is old enough that you're trying to shift away from rocking or feeding to sleep, you don't have to do it all at once. You can keep one support you're okay with and reduce just one piece that is making naps fragile. Now here's the insight I promised, and it's the one that usually changes things the fastest. Nap refusal improves when your baby starts the nap calmer, not when you work harder to force sleep. And that's why the environment and the pre-nap pace matter so much. Not because you need a perfect sleep lab, but because your baby's brain needs fewer reasons to stay on high alert. If you want help tailoring this to your baby and your schedule, this is exactly what I do. I have a master's in social work, I'm a certified pediatric sleep consultant, and I'm the founder and CEO of Rested and Renewed Pediatric Sleep Consulting. And I'm also a toddler mom, so I get how personal this feels. You can book a consult through Rested and Renewed, and if you're not ready for that step, start with my free Modern Parent Sleep Roadmap. Now let's close the loop with a realistic nap refusal game plan, the kind that works even when you have work calls in real life. You're going to pick one nap to focus on, usually the first nap, and you're going to make that pre-nap routine boring and consistent for a solid stretch of days. If your baby fights it, you're not going to add 10 new soothing moves. You're going to reduce stimulation, hold the boundary of the routine, and keep the cues predictable. If the nap doesn't happen, you don't panic. You rescue the day with a short, practical nap later if needed, and you protect bedtime by moving it earlier when the day has gone sideways. And if you're in that phase where naps are changing or daycare sleep is chaos, give yourself permission to stop expecting perfection. Your baby is developing, your schedule is real, and the goal is stability, not a highlight reel. And here's when I'd stop guessing and get extra support. If nap refusal is happening most days for weeks, nights are getting worse, your baby is regularly melting down from exhaustion, or you feel like you're functioning on fumes, that's a sign to get a personalized plan. And of course, if your baby is not feeding well, seems unusually lethargic, has breathing concerns, has a fever that worries you, or you suspect illness or pain, check in with your pediatrician. You deserve medical reassurance when something feels off. If this already made naps feel less personal and more solvable, the next video is where the whole picture gets even clearer and you'll feel more confident about what to change and what to ignore. Tap the screen to watch my next video.
Before you go, download Treasure's free guide, hit subscribe, and watch the next one. You'll be so glad you did.